Hello, my name is Laura Auten. I am the Uwharrie District Superintendent and Missional Strategist. I work with many Pastor Parish Relations Committees, and that committee is charged with supporting, strengthening, encouraging, nurturing, and respecting the pastor that is appointed to their church. And if you're going to do all of those things for your pastor, it's important to know the wide range of responsibilities and expectations that we have for the clergy and the pastors in our churches and in our conference. You can go to the 2016 Book of Discipline and go to paragraph 340 to see a comprehensive list of all of the responsibilities and duties of the pastor. I would like to summarize some of those responsibilities so that you can be more familiar with the expectations that we have for the clergy in our churches. The first major responsibility is for the pastor to attend to their own spiritual growth and to their vital relationship with Jesus Christ. That means that the pastor must take time for prayer, reading, study. The pastor must take time even for spiritual retreat and for times with clergy peer groups and support groups. We want pastors to be spiritually vital so that their leadership is energetic and enthusiastic, so that they are attuned to the presence and power of God. Another major responsibility for pastors is to preach and lead worship. This means that the pastor must spend time studying God's Word and praying and reflecting on the needs of the congregation and considering how God's Word speaks to people today. The pastor must spend time with the worship committee, with music leaders. The pastor must spend time generating creative ideas so that preaching is fresh and relevant. The pastor may need to spend time preparing for sermon delivery so that the presentation is relatable and exciting. Another major responsibility for a pastor is to care for the congregation and to offer pastoral counseling when appropriate. This means visitation with the sick and the homebound. It means being able to respond to crisis situations. It also means building relationships with people in the congregation and even perhaps in the community. This can be a time-consuming part of the pastor's work, but it is an essential part of ministry.
I think being part of staff parish is so important that we keep confidentiality, that we do all the things that the Book of Discipline outlines as part of your role in staff parish. And, most pastors want to succeed. We want to do the best that God has called us to do, but to live into that, we certainly need the support of the congregation. Because the pastor is not only balancing the congregation demands, but also family demands and demands of the community, because you're not just appointed to a church, you're appointed to a community, as I've heard many bishops say and district superintendents say that, which is so very true.
I think what's difficult about balancing all of my roles and responsibilities, life changes. As we go from one church to the next, as family dynamics change, we need to adapt and we need to learn new skills. We need to be sensitive to how family members are growing and changing. And all of this requires careful attention.
Well, I think for me, I'm kind of a compassionate personality, and so I could literally spend all my time doing pastoral care, caring for the different needs of folks in the congregation. I have to be intentional about spending time in sermon preparation and envisioning for ministry outside the church. And so I think that's the biggest challenge for me.
Even though there are other jobs in our world that are equally challenging and equally difficult in the broad range of responsibilities of a pastor, The pastor's job is very complex, and it's impossible for one person to do all of these things all at the same time. And it's not likely that one pastor will be strong in all of these areas. So it's important for the Staff Parish Committee to respond with those 5 words that we began our time with their role of encouraging, supporting, nurturing, strengthening, and respecting the pastor. And I'd like to give you one idea in each of those areas. One way that you can strengthen your pastor is to pray for your pastor daily. One way that you can nurture your pastor is to make sure that your church budget includes funds for continuing education. One way that you can respect your pastor is to speak honorably of your pastor and his or her ministry. One way that you can support your pastor is to find a small way to assist and to help your pastor in their responsibilities. And one way that you can encourage your pastor is to write a note to tell them how much you appreciate their work, or tell them in person. I hope that this has been helpful information for you and for your Pastor Parish Relations Committee. So remember, strengthen, nurture, respect, support, and encourage your pastor.